Travis Scott has released some of the most iconic songs of the 2010s decade. And when you look back at his discography, he truly is one of the best artists making music today. And I don't think he's overrated by any means. So today we'll be taking you guys through our personal top 10 Travis Scott songs. And thank you guys for actually choosing this episode because it was actually voted on by the Patreon members.
Absolutely. You guys are doing amazing work on the Patreon. Thank you so much from the team for subscribing. So for this week, the episode options were top 10 Travis Scott songs, which ended up winning with 16 votes. Then the next option was top 10 rap albums set to drop before 2021 ends. That would be a great video, by the way, but that only got 2 votes. And then the last one was what's the best experimental rap album? That got 15 votes. So guys, if you want your say on Wednesday episodes, the link is in the description. Helps us a ton. Support us on a bigger level, but let's actually get into this. So what were a couple of factors for you when making this list? And man, give me some honorable mentions before we actually dive into 10.
So definitely replay value was a big thing that I was looking for way into this list. And also like the songs that kind of define Travis Scott and his sound because it's become so unique over time. And in terms of the actual rules for this list, unreleased material does not count. Also, Travis Scott features don't count. So really, we're taking everything into consideration from Pharaoh all the way up to Astroworld. So all of his mixtapes and solo albums are all coming into play here. And some honorable mentions that I had, I don't know if I should say too many of them because it's gonna give away what's not on my list, but a couple of them are Apple Pie. That one is a song that I really wanted to include. After that, Carousel with Frank Ocean's another big one for me.
Yep.
Goosebumps, even though it's mainstream, really solid song. But what about you? What do you have?
I had a couple of them. For me, Quintana Part 2 off of DBR.
Fire.
That was a massive one for me. Way back off of Birds in the Trap sing McKnight. And then my last one was actually Houston Fornication off of or Coffee Bean. I was thinking about between those two. I know maybe Coffee Bean somewhere in your list. I don't know your list
yet. You think so?
I'd put a bet on it actually.
Speaking of that, guys, we actually have 2 different top 10 lists. So the way that this is going to work is that we're going to read off our list from number 10 to number 7. Then we'll go, 10 to number 8. Then we'll go from number 7 to number 5. And then we'll do 4 to 2. And then our last pick. So let's get it started, man. Read me your number 10, 9, and 8. What are they?
Okay, so are you ready for this?
Let's do it.
At number 10, I have The Ends. At number 9, I have Stop Trying to Be God. And at number 8, I have Backyard. Those are three of my picks. How about you? Read out your top
All right.
3. Then.
Number 10, I have R.I.P. Screw.
Okay.
Number 9, I have Backyard. And number 8, I have Oh My This Side.
Oh My This Side, low. Okay, so let's talk about, where do you want to start? You want to talk about Backyard? Because we have
we both have Backyard. So it's a number 8 for you?
It's a number 8
It's a number 9 for me. So what do you appreciate about that song?
I think it's also because Backyard kind of serves as Travis Scott's spaceships in a way, because not only that, but it kind of explains his upbringing. It kind of explains where he was at, coming up, and kind of where it led him to DBR. And at that point, it was kind of him talking about, how he was, sharing an apartment with all of his boys. So it was kind of like a motivational factor for me. And it's one of his best rap songs that I've ever heard, like pure rapping ability. Not only that, but it also samples the same Marvin Gaye song that Spaceships does, called Distant Lover. So I love the connection between that, and super inspiring for me. But how about you? Why do you have it on
It's
the
one
list?
of my favorite songs off of Days Before Rodeo, which I think is a mixtape that we need on streaming platforms. Like I really can't get enough of it. And with Backyard, number 1, I love the personality behind the track, the way that the song starts with him like eating a bag of chips, and like that's the kind of the sound that you're hearing. Fire. And I also think that it's one of, like you said, in terms of his lyrical ability, this is one of those songs where it really shines, and you get to see like, oh fuck, like if Travis Scott wanted to maybe be somewhat more lyrical, he could go into that lane if he chose to. I also love the fact that it's kind of like Travis Scott's victory lap, like you said, and also it's kind of him being like, let me tell you the tale of how Jack turned into Scott. And that's kind of what he does, taking you through the ins and outs of the struggles he had before the fame, and then how he got there, and how, like, to me, this song feels like when you made it for what you wanted to do, this is the song that you would play. And if you want more songs that are this personal and lyrical on DBR, Grey is actually another great selection. But
Grey was nice.
Let's talk about, for myself, I want to speak a little bit about R.I.P. Screw. And this is a super underrated choice, but I love everything about this song. I think that it's always overlooked when people are talking about Astroworld. I think that the thumping bass matched with Sway Lee's vocals are hypnotic. I also think that, oh my God, I just can feel the love when Travis is kind of, singing that out. That's one of the smoothest things that Travis has ever delivered. And of course, the tribute to Houston, the tribute to DJ Screw was really admirable. And I love how he actually literally slowed the song down to pay homage to that chopped and screwed sound that DJ Screw actually, pioneered. So I love that song.
I'm not going to lie to you. I actually have this higher on my list.
R.I.P. Screw? Nice.
I'm a massive fan of this track. But one that I want to talk about for myself is The Ends. And this is the intro track off of Birds in the Trap Sing McKnight. And I think that I just like this because it takes me back to a time where I was bumping Birds in the Trap for the first time. And then the first thing you hear is like that mysterious instrumental playing. And I think the biggest factor for me is also that Andre 3K feature. Obviously, going back to his adolescence and talking about how, there were people in Atlanta that were trying to persuade young artists into, sign record deals, but in reality, what they would do is kill children, and then after that, like, dump them in rivers.
That was a big case in the 80s,
and that's what Andre 3K was bringing there. So I think it's also one of Travis Scott's best intro songs, and one that's been played for me on a regular basis still. And I have number 9. I have Stop Trying to Be God. I think you have this higher on the list.
I do have this higher.
But I'm a massive fan of this song. I mean, everything that this song stands for, the whole concept of, be yourself and don't try to rule over anyone. Remember that we're all in a level playing field here in this world, and that you can't dictate what people are telling you. So I'm going to read out some lyrics. Stop trying to be God Almighty. Fuck the money. Never leave your people behind. Stop trying to play God Almighty. Always keep your circle tight. Like, I love those types of messages and always appreciated by Travis Scott.
Very refreshing from Travis. At my number 8, though, I had Oh My This Side, and I think that this might be the best chemistry that Travis has ever had with another artist on a song, because what he does with Quavo here is brilliant. I love the fact that there's 2 parts to this song, and that on that second beat when Mike Dean's piano keys just trickle in, it's just beautiful.
I have this higher on my list too.
Oh, you do? Wow.
I do have this higher
I just
on my
love
list.
the fact that Travis is talking about his upbringing in Houston, while Quavo gets into his upbringing in Atlanta, and everything about this song works, and that's why I have it at my number 8 spot.
Oh, I like that. All right, so let's get on to now 7, 6, and number 5. So I'll go for mine first.
Let's do it.
At number 7, I have Maria, I'm Drunk. At number 6, I have Rest in Peace, Screw. And then at number 5, I have Oh My This Side. So I'm kind of on that same playing field with you, where these crack my top 10, man. These are
We have a lot of the same fucking songs.
I know. So which one's the most surprising out of all yours here?
The most surprising out of the ones that you just named?
Yeah.
Oh, man. I would say probably the fact that you have R.I.P. Screw in this list. Like, I didn't think that you fucked with that song that much as you did.
I'm a massive fan of that song.
Yeah, but my number 7 is SDP Interlude. I also love the extended version, by the way. At number 6, I have Skeletons.
Oh, that's an underrated pick.
Yes,
I love
sir.
that.
At number 5, Maria, I'm Drunk.
Oh, okay. So let's talk about Maria, I'm Drunk. We have it at a similar position. I have it at 7. You have it at 5. Why do you think that this is a top tier song for Travis Scott? Especially that he doesn't even have the most runtime on this track, and it's Young Thug that kind of low key steals the show, because carries background vocals and ad libs throughout the whole track, finishes off with a crazy third verse, and then the biggest surprise of the track is Justin Bieber with the second verse on this. So why is it a top tier Travis Scott
Listen,
song?
man, like, whoever the fuck would have thought that, like, Disney star Justin Bieber would spit a crazy verse on a Travis Scott song? Like, if you predicted that, like, salute to you, because I would have never thought it. And the way that he's actually rapping on this verse is amazing. Of course, it kind of has this club vibe, and it's a very cool atmosphere. But I love Maria, I'm Drunk, because this song, more than most of his songs, really display his ability to be an amazing curator, because that's exactly what this song is. The beat is fantastic, the strings, the heavy 808s, everything is playing together here to create this trippy atmosphere, and the fact that he's able to include features like Young Thug and Justin Bieber and make them work so well is brilliant. And also, I love the beginning of Travis's part where he's rapping like, "Trust me, baby, trust me." It sounds like he's downing from a high, and like we get this decrescendo of strings, and it's an uplifting beat. And I love how he's personifying marijuana as a woman named Maria. And Young Thug's vocal complexions on this song, he's like a vocal acrobat, bro.
Absolutely.
He's going from one pitch to the next. I love everything about it.
He stole the show on this, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think when we have the conversation about who had the best part in this song, my personal pick will always be
It's
Young
Thugger,
Thug.
yeah.
It's Thugger. But let me talk about Rest in Peace, Screw at my number 6 position. A massive song for me, and it's a sleeper for a lot of people. I like that you put it in, because I think sonically it's one of the best off of Astroworld, especially like when you hear that sort of Houston influence where it's chop and screwed. It gets like slower, as you go through it, and there's nice time breaks, and like the song pauses at certain points. But the most underrated part about this whole fucking track is actually the DJ Screw interview from I believe, hold on, I have it here. It's an ABC Houston interview from 1998 to start off the track for the first 30 seconds, and like you already know what you're going to get into, just having context on the song. And the whole thing is, Travis sort of shows you in just one song like how he was inspired not only by DJ Screw but by his hometown of Houston.
And that's what I love, because a lot of artists nowadays, like a lot of new artists, won't show that love to the artists that kind of pioneered and shaped the landscape for them. But Travis Scott is doing that even after DJ Screw has passed away. So it's beautiful to see him pay that homage. Like I was like really like I was appreciating that.
Absolutely. One of my favorite for sure.
Yeah, let me talk about Skeletons, man, because this song is fucking mind-blowing, and I love the fact that we had, the Tame Impala production on this.
I was considering this one. I was really considering this maybe over
Bro,
maybe over Rest in Peace Screw. Maybe
it's tough. It's tough to say.
Tough.
And what amazes me the most of how great this song is that after amazing collaborations like Pray for Love or Wonderful with Travis and The Weeknd, Skeletons, years after their collaborations, ends up being their best. Like they just keep outdoing themselves, for me at least. And the whole thing about this, psychedelic production from Tame Impala is the fact that, Travis, of course, is literally rapping like, he says like it feels like it's slow motion, and that's what this song actually feels like. It feels like you're moving very slowly with the time.
Motion.
Oh yeah, man, that shit's beautiful. And like, if this is a taste of, let's say, the psychedelic rock sound that we can maybe expect from Utopia, I'm all the way in. And the way that Travis uses this Kanye flow, and Kanye actually has writing credits on this song, which is pretty cool, is awesome. And it just feels, this whole song feels like an LSD trip where your consciousness is being altered. And I love every second about it. And The Weeknd barely says anything, but when he's on the mic, it's fucking magic.
Yeah, the vocals that he provides for the track are absolutely beautiful. And I think that's what I like about it, is that there's not too much going on vocally on the track. It's really cut, like, it just puts you in a trance, like, overall. I think that's how I could describe Skeletons on my end. But All Might Decide for me at number 5, I'm a big fan of this song. I have to be honest with you, probably top 3 off of Rodeo in my opinion. And what I love about it is that there's actually a really nice significant meaning to the song, and it's a great conceptual track as well. It's, Oh My kind of describes Travis's come up and kind of, takes you through, all the struggles and obstacles that he had to face. And then this side, he transitioned into his reminiscing about, him being a child and him talking about his hometown. So I love seeing that. Plus, I love that, Quavo only has like one real verse on this side and didn't necessarily take up the whole track, but he provides crazy ad-libs, with that like psychedelic guitar that's kind of going on in the background. Also, I really want to talk about the beat switch on this. I love how smooth it was transitioned, and one of the best engineered songs out of all of Travis's catalog.
Agreed.
And of course, it's taken care of by Mike Dean himself. So
Oh My or this side? I gotta go this side.
This side for sure,
okay.
Because you hear like the piano roll as like the beat transitions, and then I also love Quavo's verse on this. But
100%.
talking about SDP, bro,
SDP. Do you have it on your list?
Honestly, if Travis would have released the extended version on Birds, I would have put this on my list.
Yeah, because he has 2 great verses on the extended version, which you guys can find on YouTube, where he's rapping, and it's
even that piff.
It's interesting to see that he didn't include it, but I love SDP Interlude. I think to me, it's my favorite song off of Birds in the Trap sing McKnight, and I just love what it represents, because it's kind of showing the strengths of Travis's music, because you have this transformative instrumental, you have Travis's very dynamic vocals, and for the most part, there's not much being said, but there doesn't need to be much said, because all you're hearing is smoke some, drink some, pop one, and that's kind of being repeated 33 times, but that repetition is actually meant to illustrate how Travis is hallucinating and his head's kind of moving in circles, and there's this cycle of like, let me smoke one, let me drink some, and let me pop one. Like, it's just kind of a kind of circle that keeps playing on, and I love the fact that not only does it sound trippy, but the literary techniques within the song make it trippy as well. And to me, there's not many songs that immerse me into a vibe in Travis's catalog like SDP Interlude does.
I think I have one over that I'd put over like maybe a vibe.
Is it going to show up in your list?
We're gonna get into our 4 to 2 right now, talking about that, and I'm gonna make you start because I started the last ones. Give me your 4 to 2. Let me see what you got. I want to see how many we have in common here.
This is interesting. All right, number 4 for me is Drugs You Should Try It.
Oh, okay. I got that at number 4. What do you
Interesting.
got?
My number 3. This one I don't think many people have in their top 10 list. It's Impossible off of Rodeo.
Really?
I love that. I think it's super underrated. And my number 2, any guesses?
I think we have the same number 2 as well.
It's Stop Trying to Be God for me.
Oh, I thought you were going to put... Okay. I'm going to name you my top 3 and you're going to understand why I thought so, okay? So at number 4, I have Drugs You Should Try. At number 3, I have Through the Late Night. And then at number 2, I have Astro Thunder. That's my top 3.
I knew you were going to put Astro Thunder.
What made you didn't put
that's
it?
That's the one song I didn't put. And I was just going through it and I'm like, I have so many songs from Astroworld already. And it's like, Astro Thunder is amazing, but it's a little short. So I'm like... I don't know if it's...
I think it's one of his best produced tracks of all time. That's for sure. I think that when it comes to production-wise, it's up there.
I feel like I'm fucking floating when I'm hearing that song, man. Like, literally feel like that.
Okay, so where do you want to start?
Let's start with number 4, since we both have Drugs You Should Try It. So.
Okay, so I think what I'm going to say about this track is it was really nice to hear Travis not only take a romantic track and implement, elements of psychedelic rock into it, but it was really cool to see the way he was able to use his vocal effects here. And it has that contagious vibe to it where you don't want to stop listening to Drugs You Should Try It. You just want to keep going and going and going. And not only that, but it's perfect for any situation. It's perfect to bump in the cars with the homies. It's perfect to bump when you're in your feels. It's perfect to bump while you're smoking because it has that psychedelic effect to it. I think it's like the Swiss Army knife of Travis Scott songs for me, where it's just so replay. The replay value on it is absolutely fucking amazing, and
it is.
You could see how Drugs You Should Try It is that one song on DBR that stands out from the rest of them, and how he maybe used that one aesthetic to bounce off and maybe create the rest of his catalog. So that's the way I look at it. So why is this at your number 4?
I feel like every Travis fan probably has this in their top 10, and I love everything about it, man. Like you said, it kind of shaped the psychedelic sound that he would really go into later on in his career. And I love how the song kind of starts off with him harmonizing in reverse, and that to kind of show how his mind is like playing tricks on him as he's going through this drug trip. And to me, it just felt like Travis Scott on a song like this, it's like he's making me take DMT without actually having to consume the drug. Like, I just feel like I'm totally immersed into this psychedelic universe, and that's what he does so well. And that's why I kind of prefer those songs over, let's say, the Travis Scott bangers like Antidote or like Outside, for example, which are still great songs. But this is more the Travis Scott that I fell in love with as a listener. And like you said, as a love song, it works. As a psychedelic song, it works. And there's nothing that fell flat.
Dynamic,
yeah.
Absolutely super dynamic. And I also love the story build up within the track, him talking about him being that part of that unknown band, and him kind of using imagery to describe like a relationship with a woman. It's really nice. The guitar adds a fuckload to it. But I want to talk about Through the Late Nights. Why didn't this crack in your top 10? Was it like,
I just felt like the better Kid Cudi Travis Scott song was Stop Trying to Be God. So I'm like, I have to choose one. I gotta go with that one.
I could agree on you that it's maybe better musically, but I think based on my replay value and based on the nostalgic factor, Through the Late Night is the first thing for me.
And what's interesting about both those songs is that they both start off with humming. And I will give you this, bro. I will give you this. The humming's better on Through the Late Night.
That's why I think that's a big decision on why I put Through the Late Night on this list. Is just I think it's their best collaboration in my opinion when it comes to chemistry. Especially I think it's one of Kid Cudi's best hooks that I've heard in years. Especially like going into Birds
better than Day and Night. I don't know about that one.
It's a top 10.
Okay,
it's a top 10 Cudi hook for me. But overall, like, just Travis even giving him like the start of the song was fucking fantastic, because it also builds up anticipation for what's to come with Travis's second verse. And it's really cool because this was one of the first times that they linked up, and it was also a big moment in Travis Scott's career where he had gotten that official torch where people were like, yo, this guy's solidified. He's going to be the next one up. And now artistically, he's going to be able to put his name amongst the Kid Cudis and the Kanyes. And replay value for me. One of my most played Travis Scott songs. I remember when I was a kid going to house parties, this was bumping everywhere. And even if it's a banger for a lot of people, and a lot of people have played it at clubs or parties, one of the best, put together Travis Scott records that I've ever heard, especially with all the trippy, sounds to it and everything. But go on to your next pick.
My number 3 is Impossible off of Rodeo, which might surprise a lot of people. And I just think that this song is so slept on because it kind of captures the idea that a lot of people were kind of describing Travis Scott as when he was starting off, was kind of that like he's this zombie that's being brought back to life by the production. And this song, his delivery is very monotone, but this is probably, to me, it might just be his best love song because he sounds very monotone, and he captures the sentiment of being lonely so well. And after hearing songs like this one, Impossible, and hearing songs like Only One, like I could use a whole fucking album of like Travis Scott heartbreak songs, because that would be amazing. And this song, the production's amazing. You have this very bleak and dark atmosphere, and you have this I would say 808s and heartbreak inspired bass line which rings through it, which is super sweet. And Travis Scott's lack of emotions really represent how he's feeling. And the song is really about how it's impossible to replace this woman that he's infatuated with. And I just loved everything that he did here. So let's go on to our number 2 picks. What's yours?
I got Astro Thunder. I was very surprised you didn't put this in, because we were actually talking about this very highly.
I love
the other
this song.
day.
It just missed out on my list.
And what a lot of people don't understand is that yes, this is one of his best produced tracks. Obviously, you had people like Thundercat that took care of the bass lines on here. Not only that, but you had I believe it was Mike Dean and Alan Ritter on the keyboard on this as well, and it was actually produced by Frank Dukes as well. One of my favorite tracks of all time when it comes to Travis Scott's catalog. And I also love the fact that this song actually has a deep message only because of one verse, and you're going to find that with a lot of Travis Scott songs is that it's very simple in approach, and that there's maybe not a lot of lyrical content within his material, but it's very deep. So the whole point of Astro Thunder is for him to really practice but never preach, for him to be more in a zone of him creating rather than him trying to let's say spread false preaching. And another thing is him trying to find this inner peace within doing that, because he also refers to peace as the word peace, and then the word peace as his gun on him, like I got my peace on me. So it's cool to see like that double-sided to him. And as I said, one of the best produced Travis Scott songs that I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah,
but
I totally agree. I love that song, and it was tough to leave it off, to be honest. But my number 2 is Stop Trying to Be God. And this song, it's literally a perfect song for me. Like there's no misses at all. And again, another song that really demonstrates how good Travis Scott is as a curator. And Kid Cudi's humming at the beginning, it's beautiful. And also, I love how intricate the subject matter is on this Travis Scott song. The fact that there's an actual deep concept, and that's, Travis Scott kind of made this song to politely kill your ego. He's saying how nobody should have a God complex. Nobody should think that they're perfect or above anybody, no matter what status that they might reach. And coming from someone like Travis, who's at the level that he's at, that's super refreshing to hear him be so honest. Not only that, but I love how his crooning on this song is very subtle, and it just sounds very authentic. And Stevie Wonder's harmonica on this song is fucking masterful, bro. Like,
it was great.
That shit is amazing, especially at the end of the song. Like, he deserves a fucking award for that shit, for how nice it sounded. And James Blake's outro gets me every single time. Some of the most angelic singing that I've heard in years. And like I said, in terms of a concept for a song, Stop Trying to Be God checks off all the boxes, and it's one of my most replayed songs ever.
I got to agree with you. That's why I had to put it on. That's why I had to not put it on, but I don't know. I was considering putting this higher. Like I was consider putting this onto my top 5, but I'm like, I don't know. Like what's missing for this with me, I think, is the replay value. Like I haven't
really,
for some weird reason, I haven't been bumping it the most out of like all of these other songs. But I think when we talk about a well put together, Travis Scott song, it's for sure.
You have to be in a zone. Like, I feel like it's an out of body experience. You know what I mean? Like Absolutely. You have to really commit to it. But without further ado, guys, our number 1 pick for the best Travis Scott song. And by the way, let us know in the comments what your favorite Travis Scott song is. So what's your number 1, man? Let's do it.
All right. I think we definitely have.
We probably have the same pick. 100%.
I got 90210.
90210 is my number 1,
Absolutely.
man. So, I mean, I think that a lot of Travis Scott fans appreciate this song and know that it might be his best ever song. And why do you think it is his best song?
I think it's just the perfect victory lap for how, he's come full circle as one of the best creators in the industry, especially with, all of like the parallels, to the porn star girl, and also, taking that end victory lap on the first beat switch, my bad, talking about, how he's all right, and talking to his grandmother and getting personal, introspective, even talking about how he's taking care of his family now. It's kind of like, it gives you that gratitude. It gives you like that hope that you need to get through any sort of situation. And I think sonically, it's one of the nicest songs I've heard, period, in the 2010 decade. Like I really hold that song to such a high standard because, first of all, Mike Dean absolutely killed this, and then like the Family Business sample by Kanye West on the second beat switch was absolutely fucking ridiculous. Like just the way that the production was layered and going through the whole song felt super cinematic. I love the visuals for it, and I mean, when you talk about his best song, I genuinely don't think I could put anything else in front of this. But how about you? Like, what makes this your favorite Travis Scott song? And take me back to the first time you heard it. Like, what was your experience with it?
First time I heard it, honestly, I don't even remember, man. Like, I've bumped it for so long now that I couldn't even tell you the first time I heard it. But I've kept playing this over the years because it's 5 minutes of sheer brilliance. Like, there's everything into this song that he put in was
Feels
masterful.
like a mini movie.
It does. And to me, this is probably one of the best come-up songs that I've ever heard in my life. I think that the way that he displays his growth from both parts of the song is genius. Not only that, but that whole thing of like looking for an alley, looking for that alley. Like, when I first heard that, I'm like, okay, this is probably just a euphemism for Travis Scott Travis Scott trying to fuck, you know what I mean? Like, that's what it means. But in reality, it's actually him trying to find that path to break out into success and become a successful artist. And then as you get the beat switch, as you get that blissful synth lead and the nice bass guitar and the beat transitions, you're like, okay, now this is the part where he actually made it now. Like, this is where the rose is growing from the concrete and he's at the position that he wanted to be. And when that change happens, not only does the beat change, but his point of view, of course, changes because he's in this different spot in his life. And also, his vocals change. His vocal tone, you'll end up finding out that his vocals sound less filtered, there's less effects on them, and he sounds more clear and like less polished, let's say.
Absolutely. And there's also a tempo switch in the song at the second beat switch, like the first beat switch. I'm sorry, I fucked that up. But like, once you get to that beat switch, you start to realize how the drums maybe get a bit quicker than the first one, because the first one's very wavy, it's very hazy, it's kind of like he's trying to find it in this cloud of smoke. But then the beat switch is like that sunlight that comes out of nowhere. And even like Casey Hill's like vocals kind of change a bit, like while that transition's happening, and you could see how it's kind of almost angelic as a transformation. And yeah, I think that this song has just given me so much inspiration over the years, and you know, any creator could relate to this song, trying to find that outlet, and you know, in the smoke and haze, and when you finally do find it, it becomes bliss, and you can take care of your family.
I think it has the most artistic value out of any other Travis Scott song. The way that he sets up atmosphere and creates the scenery for you. I mean, even Casey Hill's vocals on this are just breathtaking to me. So I think that's our best Travis Scott song. I'm happy that we actually agree on that one. And
that's fine.
I think we have most of our picks actually lining up together, which is pretty interesting, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
For Travis,
we wanted to kind of give you guys a different experience where Lou and I give you guys a separate list. So on that note, thank you guys so much for watching throughout all of this. We're going to be doing more of these top 10 lists. So if you did enjoy this list, please subscribe and smash the like button. Helps us out a ton. Not only that, guys, but we're going to be doing more content on rollouts, album reviews, whatever it is. So subscribe if you like that as well. And guys, listen, thank you for watching throughout all of this. Leave in the comments section your favorite Travis Scott song, and we'll catch you on the next one. Thank you for watching the video. It's always a pleasure doing content for you guys. Listen, if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, because we're doing album reviews, and we actually have our series called Everything We Know, where we take you guys through the whole album rollout of the hottest releases of the year. Not only that, guys, but our Patreon plan is now live. You guys can access that in the bio. I appreciate you guys, and I'll see you on the next one.